Hello friends, I am your host Bhuvan Verma. Welcome to the second part of our conversation with our friend Claus Ditlev Christensen, Secretary General, World Robot Olympiad Association. This year, WRO 2022 theme, as you all know, is My Robot, My Friend. And we are continuing our conversation with our friend, diving straight into the questions. Claus, can you tell our students how does STEM education in schools help in social integration, and how does WRO play a critical role in social integration?
Well, I think it's quite commonly understood that in many places, unfortunately, STEM education might be the territory for the very bookish, those who like to read books, and But I think in WRO, especially, we are very practically oriented. I mean, you're practically oriented and you're oriented towards real world problems, and you are a global community. All of a sudden, participating in WRO makes you a member of that community. So really, it's an opportunity for you to come into an organization, face the challenges, understand the world around you, and become a global citizen. And in that way, we are sort of effectively erasing boundaries. And I think I really love that about international programs like ours. So in general, that is how I view that. Of course, that can also happen at the local level because you work in teams, right? So at the very local level, if you are a class and you are the son of a plumber or you're the son of the managing director, you form a team and you work together. I really love that. It's all about breaking boundaries.
Hooray, hooray. So students breaking down barriers, not just in knowledge, but also societal barriers, and moving across areas which have been here though unknown to us. All right. Okay. Moving on to our next questions. Our students, Claus, are very curious to know who is that one STEM leader that you follow on social media?
Yes, well, I'm afraid I'm not going to mention a name that is little known. I'm going to mention someone I think you all know. One of my big idols is Elon Musk. And there's a reason for that. He's very interesting to follow because he does things in quite a different way. He's not maybe overly active on social media, but when he is, he really sets an agenda, right? So I really respect that man, because he demonstrates so well that you just need to be optimistic. If you are optimistic and you believe in yourself, you can even go to the moon. He's done it more or less. He hasn't been to the moon yet, but he's in space. But one thing is also he's willing to risk failure, and he also celebrates failure even. And I think that is quite important, for us to understand. You can't just go from A to Z and with no failures on your journey. You need to embrace failure because that's part of learning, right? And he really celebrates it. I even think sometimes he stages failures so we all talk about them, and then he comes out on the other side successful anyways. So that I think is just super inspiring, and that is why I follow him.
Fantastic. So students, if you are not following Elon Musk, I would encourage you to go on your social media and follow him, and also follow Claus, since he is a leader too for, leading the World Robot Olympiad community towards, a collective movement. All right. Okay. So to our next question, Claus, you've been associated with WRO for such a long duration. How did the competition like WRO change your worldview?
Well, from a young age, I've been living in different countries. So I have a global mindset in a sense. I come from a small country, but I lived in the USA, I lived in England. But coming into WRO, you have to understand, we are now in almost 100 countries. So it's truly a global organization. But I've come to understand that and believe in also that by building friendships across the borders, you can really change a lot and you can really impact a lot. And many of the world's problems today, I think they wouldn't be if all the world leaders, for example, have been joining WRO and met the young counterparts from other countries. So this whole thing about meeting the world, breaking down barriers, I think that is great. But I've come to understand also that it might also be a quite of a conservative view of what is developed world, what is not developed world. I come from a small country like that is Denmark, and I think a lot of people think Denmark is quite developed, but really, we are actually challenged a lot in getting young people to be inspired by STEM. and that's a big problem. So are we really the developed ones, or is it someone else who's taking the lead? I think STEM is really what is going to define the future. And if you are into STEM as a nation, your future looks bright. So my little developed country might not be so developed in the future. We'll have to see. So that's what I see. I see a lot of momentum for STEM in other parts of the world that you probably wouldn't expect. So that is interesting.
Absolutely. And the platform that WRO provides is the raw materials. Robotics is something that can have divergent and convergent evolution when it comes to providing solutions to our community. So eloquently put, Klaus. Thank you so much for sharing your heart with our students. Okay, to our next question to you. Our students really want to know, what is that one hobby that helps you build your problem-solving stamina?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people, if they were asked this question, would say, I play chess. You know, chess, it helps me improve my problem-solving stamina. I do play a little bit of chess. I'm no chess master at all. I would go in a completely different direction. You know, my favorite hobby is actually fishing. You know, I go fishing for trout. And I don't know if you know the trout, but it's a very nice fish. I fish trout from the coast or in smaller streams. And what you need to know about that is that there's a lot of factors at play. So if you want to be successful and you don't want to have too many days without a catch, you really need to work to figure it out. You know, so for example, there are different tactics to apply at certain times of the season. It could be the influence of low tide and high tide. Some even say that the moon is influential, if it's full moon or not. So really there's a lot you need to know. And you also need to know the spot where you're fishing. Is the seabed, is it sandy or is it rocky? So many factors come at play, and it's been a daunting task to really break that riddle. So I would say, from my hobby of fishing and go out in nature, enjoy the fresh air, I've come to appreciate that you cannot be successful all the time, but you do need to work it out. And then when you do, the big prize is there, the big nice fish that you can go home and eat and have a good time with your friends and family. So yeah, that is where I build my stamina, because I've had a lot of those trips that were unsuccessful, but I kept going, right? And that, I think, is the important part.
Great. So students, if you have a pond or a stream near you, go out there, enjoy the nature and gain patience, because that is the game in which you will learn newer aspects. Very wonderfully, answered, Klaus. So many aspects that one has to observe, from climate to water to lures that attract the fish. There are so many facets to each and everything that we do. Very beautifully and eloquently put, I must compliment. Okay, so moving on to our next question, Klaus. This is closer to your heart and will be close to your home also. Can you tell our students what is that one STEM intervention that you want for your hometown?
Well, I was alluding to that, I think just before, saying that people think of Denmark as a country that is well developed, but actually I think we are lacking when it comes to the adoption of STEM intervention and STEM education. So if I was to really say what I would want to see in my hometown, and I'm a little biased here, but I would like to see my local schools, of course, adopt the WR programs, simply because of robotics and in all similar programs. It could be First League as well. There are things out there that I just think we are missing out on in my country. We don't take it seriously. So I think robotics competitions in my local schools would have been great for my kids. They're now old, they are done with the primary school, secondary school. So maybe it's too late to save them. But really bringing robotics into my local schools would be great. I think that is key. I think this whole thing about combining and teaching all the separate topics of STEM together as one is a great opportunity to be hands-on, minds-on at the same time. And it really ignites that intrinsic motivation that I think a lot of Danish school children are actually missing. And it's learning that sticks, So yeah, I would love to see more Danish schools, including my local ones, really adopt the programs that we do and all our friends that other competitions are doing, because there certainly is not enough support for that in my country, unfortunately. So
certainly. So to all policymakers who watch our show, STEM way of thinking is not a privilege, but a necessity for the students so that they can use off-the-shelf technologies to innovate newer technologies and newer way of lifestyle. It is a must for each and every classroom, each and every girl and boy who exists. Thank you, Klaus. Thank you for giving such encouraging response to our question. All right, moving on to my students' next question. They are very curious to know, can you recommend a website, a toy, or a physical site to visit and experience STEM in action?
Well, I think you should go on to the WRO Association website. We have all the categories explained that we do, and I have a personal request. You know, there are a lot of Robo Mission teams out there, WRO Mission team. That's the majority of teams WRO, but I really think you should go in and check out the Future Innovators category. It is an amazing category. It allows you to identify a worthy goal, so to say, something that's really on your mind, and build a solution for that. And I think that is critical. We need more innovators, we need more entrepreneurs. That category is exactly what is fostering them. So have a look at the WRO Association website, and that goes for everyone watching. Go and have a look. Go also on to our WRO India website, your website, and have all the information there. That I think will be interesting for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Klaus, for sharing clarity on STEM, robotics, how it can help transform our lives. Today, we learned about the extraordinary world that we are building with the help of robotics, and how STEM is such an integral part of education and robotics. We heard from Klaus how STEM-related subjects are the need of the hour, in demand by industry, and how to build your problem-solving stamina. Students are invited to enter teams. Schools are invited to enter teams of 3 students to participate in the WRO 2022 competition. Please visit our website, indiastemfoundation.org, or WRO India 2022 on your web browser. For more details, links are in the description. We thank our viewers for sharing this video with their parents and peers. Until next time, namaste.